Today, we're going to dig into a concept that a lot of us might be living with, maybe without even having a name for it. We're talking about the architecture of hyper-independence.
How many times has this just flown out of your mouth? It's like a reflex, right? Someone offers to help, and before you can even think about it, you're already saying, nope, I got it.
But here's a wild thought. What if that fierce self-reliance, the thing people probably praise you for, isn't just a personality trait? What if it's something way deeper, a response to something from your past?
Okay, just picture this. You're juggling way too many grocery bags. Your keys are slipping. The whole situation is a mess. A kind stranger offers to grab a bag for you, and your immediate, almost aggressive reaction is, nope, I'm good. If asking for even the smallest favor feels like absolute torture, then you are in the right place. So this is what we're talking about, hyper-independence. And it's so much more than just being a do-it-yourself kind of person. It's this powerful, almost physical rejection of help. Think of it like a protective shield your brain built a long time ago. And this is absolutely crucial to understand. This is not a choice. It's not about you being difficult or stubborn. For people who are hyper-independent, their brains are literally wired differently based on past experiences. They learned that relying on others could be unsafe or just lead to disappointment. But here's where it gets interesting. Not everyone refuses help for the same reason. It turns out there are three pretty distinct psychological types we're going to unpack. We've got the burden-fearer, the trust-starved, and the debt avoider. Let's see if one of these sounds a little too familiar. So first up is the burden-fearer. This person's entire operating system is built around one single goal: do not be a problem for anyone, ever. Does this sound like you? You feel like just taking up space or asking for something is a major crime. And if you absolutely have to ask for a favor, it comes with 1,000 apologies. You feel this intense need to immediately pay them back with money or a gift just to make things even. Your brain is just on a loop. Everyone else has enough to deal with. I can't add to their plate. Now, this kind of behavior almost always comes from a past where your needs were treated like they were an annoyance. So you learned really early on to just make yourself small, to not ask for anything. But what happens when the problem isn't being seen as a burden, but just not being seen at all? Well, that brings us to our next type, the trust-starved. Their motto is simple: the only person I can rely on is me. No, listen, this isn't arrogance. It's actually really tragic. It comes from a deep, painful history of being let down over and over again. They've learned the hard way that relying on people just leads to disappointment. So they've just opted out of the whole system. The psychological source of this is often the experience of being the ignored child. Maybe home wasn't loud and chaotic. Maybe it was just silent. Imagine being in a room that just doesn't echo. You reach out, you call for help or love, and all you get back is silence, a profound emptiness. And what do you do in response to that? You build armor, really heavy armor. And yeah, it keeps you from getting hurt again, but it also keeps everything else out, the good stuff too. Genuine love and support feel way too risky to let in. And that brings us to our final type, the debt avoider. For this person, every single human interaction is basically a transaction logged on a mental spreadsheet. And this is where things get really misunderstood. You might offer to help them out of pure kindness, but their brain literally does not process it that way. It sees a trap, it sees a future obligation, a debt that they now have to carry. And you have to ask yourself, why would they think that way? Well, because in their experience, it was always a trap. They learned that love and support were never free. They were conditional. They always came with strings attached, and those strings would always get pulled later. This is why they would rather struggle alone than risk owing someone a favor. Their incredible confidence, the fact that they can do everything themselves, it's not for show. It's a shield. It's how they stay in control and make sure no one can ever manipulate them again. So if any of this is ringing a bell, you've probably spent your whole life being called the strong one, the capable one. You're the person who always has it together. And on the surface, that feels like a pretty great compliment. But the truth? The part we don't talk about is that it is absolutely exhausting. Holding it all together, all by yourself, all the time, man, that takes a toll. Think of it like an app running in the background on your phone. This hypervigilance, this constant self-reliance, you might not even notice it, but it's just quietly draining your battery all day, every day. And if you take away nothing else from this, please remember this right here.
You didn't become this strong because life was kind or fair. You became this strong because you had to. You had to be the one to hold all the pieces together when everything was falling apart.
So let's just lay it all out one more time. The burden-fearer is terrified of being an inconvenience. The trust-starved is terrified of being disappointed again. And the debt-avoider is terrified of being trapped by obligation. 3 completely different core fears, all leading to the exact same behavior. Don't worry about it, I got it.
So as you look at this, which one of these feels like it's telling your story? Be honest with yourself. There's really no judgment here. Because just understanding the architecture of why you're built this way, that's everything. That's the first step. It's the key that unlocks the possibility that maybe, just maybe, it's okay to let someone else help you carry the load.